Hi there, welcome to Granny's Maintenance and Woodwork for Women. Today we're changing the mixer tab. So I'm going to show you the components that come in a packet, then I'm going to show you how they assemble in which order, because it's going to be difficult to see it under the sink, but I'll show you which parts go on top of the sink and which parts go on the bottom. So let's get started. Okay, components of our mixer tab. One mixer tab, one O-ring washer, two other washers, one metal, one plastic, this funny looking contraption, and this weird looking thing. Oh, plus two hoses, obviously hot and cold, and a pictorial instruction manual, which is great. Now, from what I can see, the mixer tap's on the top. This little skinny O-ring goes into the end of my tap, and this sits at the top of the sink. The rest of it is below. So I'm going to do another quick video and I'll show you what components go where. To assemble, we've got this funny looking thing. Now that screws up and it screws down. I want this plate to be under the cupboard. So I want this at the top and this at the bottom. I'm going to thread my hoses through, because don't forget this is all under the sink and they're going to connect to the taps. Now on top of that there's two washers. I'm going to place the metal one first over that. It sits on that plate. Then I'm going to place the rubber one on top of that, and then I'm going to place the funny looking thing so it points down. I want a flat surface when it comes through. And then this is going to connect underneath my sink. Now I've got my O-ring in there. I would put this in, screw them in place, and then under the sink that would ply right up, and then I can use this metal thing to screw into the bottom of my sink so that holds it nice and fast. Okay, so that's the order at which it goes. Let's go under the sink and put it in. Okay, now we're in here. We're going to have to turn the taps off. There's two of them. Oh, that one's, I've already released that one. Left loosey, right tight. So I've turned the water off there. I've loosened this fitting off here. Now I'm loosening the bottom one until I get that off, and then that's undone. Now, I may get a little bit of a splurt, so that's why the towel's here. Anyway, I'm going to keep going with that and eventually do the other one. I'll get this one off first. Thing hanging down there. Okay, there's a little screw at the top of it, and I've finally been able to get it down a little bit. I have to unscrew that. Which way are we going? No, wrong way. I have to unscrew that to get that thing out so we can lift the whole thing out. This is to show you what the difficult parts are, other than getting the tap fittings off the tap. That was entertaining too. To get my tap out, I had to cut that with my grinder because these are copper pipes, and that two of those were not going to fit through that little hole. So that's what I've done there. So we've officially got the old thing out. I'm going to clean that surface and I'm putting the new one in, and I'll take you through that. Okay, two hoses. They've come through the sink right there. Now, they're going to go into the bottom of my new tap. And if you have a look at that, you can see two openings, two little screw heads. That's where my hoses are going to go. So I'm actually going to tighten them up and then put together everything at the bottom. Now don't forget, look for hot and cold. On the tap itself, it tells me where the hot and cold measure is. But it doesn't necessarily say it on the hose. So it's a little bit of pot luck with this one, but most of them are marked. If you have a look at the hose, if you have a look at the tap, you'll see a little red and blue marking. Can you see that? Is it hiding? There it is, just a little bit. Okay, so I've got one screwed in. Oh, no I don't. I thought I had one screwed in. Okay, I'll do that again. Is that screwing in? Yes. Okay, now that's firm. Let's test this sink, see if it works. Oh, Love it. No more leaks. Oh, fabulous. Have a look under the cupboard. All those fittings have got that white tape around the thread. So when I screwed those back down, it's a nice tight seal. So we have a great brand new sink. Doesn't leak. Oh, I'm so happy. To finish off, have a look at what we pulled out, because this is the sort of thing you're going to tackle. Okay, these copper hoses are old, but you'll have the equivalent of 2 hoses, hot and cold. You've got this funny little thing coming out with this plate. That plate is secured by this funny little thing against from the bottom, so that's what holds it in. And this funny little thing here has this over the top of it. It's got a slot to be able to screw it off. It doesn't like screwing off, so I end up having to break it off, but that's okay. And then you will come across this little screw there. Once you've got that off, this plate comes off, and then you can lift it out. Because these are copper, I could not get them through the actual hole with this type of fitting on the end, both of them. I couldn't flex and bring one out, so I end up cutting that with a grinder. But the sort of tools you're going to need, like I said, multi-grips, they were great for the taps. This thing was excellent for getting that funny little screw thing off. I found that was the only thing that worked. And on all my tap fittings, all the threads, plumber's tape. That stuff is magic. And since then, the thing works beautifully. Okay, good luck with it. They're the problems you're going to have. And I've never done this before, and my tap works beautifully. So if I can do it, an old lady, so can you.